What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Noe Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by JD, and we are going to get into spring football, maybe some position battles, as well as recruiting updates. But before we get into all of that, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football or G5 football, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that is truly all that we talk about. All right, JD. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Before we get into spring football, though, basketball got a new head coach. What are your thoughts just on, real quick, NIT champions? Unfortunately, McCaslin is heading off to Lubbock, but the replacement in Hodge, just give us some quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Jared Mosley hit a home run here. I mean, I think Ross Hodge was the logical hire. I think it was. I mean, in my opinion, it's a home run hire. I mean, if you can see across the Twitter world, there's nobody with a bad word to say about Hodge. I mean, he was the mastermind behind North Texas's record-breaking defense. He's been a head coach before. He's got a ton of connections, and like I said, I think he was really loved by the team, and I think he gives you the best option of not only keeping most of that NIT championship team together, but also lets you could keep the camaraderie, and I guess the train continues to roll. I don't think there was. I think that if you'd open it up, I think there would have been some big names interested, but I don't think that was the right option. I think Ross Hodge was the number one target and the number one option. And I think that North Texas, you see a lot of teams when this happens, they open it up and drag it out for a few days, and then there's a good chance Ross Hodge could have ended up at Texas Tech. So I love that North Texas didn't drag it out, didn't drag their feet, didn't make it a bigger deal than it was. Just make the correct hire, make the right hire, and let Ross hit the road recruiting. Because I mean, the transfer portal is going crazy right now. So I mean, every day that you drag your feet's one less day. The staff gets a chance to recruit. So getting him hired, getting him to be able to start putting a staff together, I think was I give Jared Mosley and that the athletic department an A+.
Yeah, I'm just speaking from a casual basketball fan, but hopefully we can, use this momentum to propel into the seasons to come with Coach Hodge and get more attendance and become less of that stepping stone that we all hate to be. But really, really great season by the men's basketball team. Really so much fun following along with that, and seeing all the fans get involved across the Metroplex, really. But anyway, jumping into football though, so spring football just wrapped up the first week. I believe that was the first week they just concluded. And what are you hearing as far as position battles? Who are you thinking maybe has, from your sources that you've heard from, that it's kind of making, some big time plays in week one?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the quarterback battle goes, at first I heard that Chandler Rogers was kind of running away with it, but then I mean, not that he's playing bad, but I think that the whole quarterback room is battling right now. I think they are putting up a pretty impressive showing all the way around. I think the Varkey's Gums news, him transferring tight end position, who's going to step up? I think Christian Lee's the guy that we talked about as a recruit that has a ton of potential. He's more of, I would call, a hybrid wide receiver tight end. That he's a guy that with the last staff, you just kind of wanted to see him get on the field, and he made plays when he got the chance. So he's a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing if he can step up and kind of grab that tight end starting position. I know that they lost not only losing Varkey's, but you lost Jake in the offseason. So there's definitely some big shoes to fill there at the tight end position. And after that, I mean, I think you got to talk about the linebacker position, who comes in and fills in for Katie Davis. But I think the thing that stood out to me, seeing pictures and talking to people, is seeing some guys that we were injured last year that have kind of got back healthy and are practicing right now. I think it's impressive. Nick
Naquasa.
Seeing him on the field was a good sign for me. I knew that we were really excited about him going into last year, and seeing him back on the field this year after rehabbing and getting healthy is exciting. And like I said, I think that to me it seems like the new staff is definitely bringing the energy, and it seems like they're having quite a bit of fun this spring so far. So excited. Hopefully, I'm going to get out there next week and be able to watch a practice and get a little better feel on things.
Yeah, and kind of keep it on the tight end subject really quick. the JUCO, I think we both were Joshua Smith. He'll be a qualifier for the fall. Though not that he's a committed, but that's one they offered. He would be ready to go in the fall. To
Yeah.
your understanding.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that, I don't even think that's anything against the tight ends on the team. I think we've seen a lot of tight ends leave and we haven't seen them fill any positions. So I definitely think that they're going to look to bring in a JUCO guy or a transfer guy. Because we got to remember after spring practices for everybody, there's another transfer season. So you see a lot of usually Power 5 guys that can't break the depth chart, can't break the 2 depth, hit the portal. And we've been able to snag some pretty talented guys the last few years. Then that second, I guess, transfer season, whatever you want to call it. So that's definitely a position I would look for. That potentially an offensive lineman or two, just to add some more depth along those lines.
Yeah. Also want to, stay on Christian Lee for a second. That's someone who maybe, out of the most interesting players I'm ready to watch come spring game, just to see how the tight end position is utilized in this new offense and see how, Christian Lee steps up because, all these Power 5 schools have, these just factories and they have plenty of tight ends or whatever on the roster. From a G5 perspective, though, North Texas has kind of had that at the tight end position. And, I think Christian Lee, I think he can play, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the spring. And again, to see how much that's even utilized. As well as I think Kautai is also there, but we'll see. I mean, I'm unfortunate loss, obviously, with Varkey's Gums, just massive production. But nevertheless, kind of excited to see what the other guys can do. Okay, kind of shifting over to recruiting. So, this staff, I think they do a great job of getting the hype out for recruiting. That I feel like they really, understand a lot of fans are interested in recruiting and the sport of recruiting. And, so who were some of the names? You said both of the commits that are already in the 24 class were present. But you said some other big names might have been there too. Can you go and elaborate on some of the recruiting news you're hearing?
So Brandon Jones out of South Oak Cliff, Luke Carter out of Katy, both are 2 commits so far in the 2024 class, are both in town this weekend. Also heard that Noah Lugo, Eaton's quarterback, which he's gaining a lot of steam. I think he's a quarterback. I think he's got several Power 5 offers so far. He was scheduled to be in town, and also Kerry Williams, a defensive back out of South Oak Cliff. I love that we're kind of building a little pipeline to South Oak Cliff. I think Taylor Starlin and Keith Smith last cycle, I think it helped build a ton of relationships. Obviously, getting Gilbert, Coach O, those guys are helping win battles, and then we're seeing it with Brandon Jones. I mean, I think the guy will be a 4-star by the time signing day rolls around. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kerry Williams jump on the train as well, just to keep that South Oak Cliff pipeline rolling. But this staff, I mean, not only the amount of players they're getting out on campus, and not even like super talented guys, but they're getting super talented, but they're also getting, just bringing a huge number of kids on campus, I think is impressive, because you don't know who's going to have a growth spurt late. You don't know who's going to, go to a JUCO and blow up. You don't know. I mean, there's so many things that can happen later on. So, I mean, the amount of people they're getting out there and building relationships with is super impressive. But not only that, they're getting a ton of high school coaches out there on campus this spring, which I think is very, very integral in building these relationships with Texas high school football teams. So, I mean, I think they're doing an A+ job as far as that goes. It's been really impressive to watch, and it's been pretty much a full-time job on Twitter trying to keep up with all the happenings.
Yeah, just to highlight some of those names that you called out, the non-commits, and Kerry Williams and Noah Lugo. Kerry Williams out of South Oak Cliff, his offer list is Tulsa, UTSA, Louisiana Tech, Ole Miss, Purdue, North Texas, and Arkansas State, as well as Jackson State. So that, again, just piggybacking off of what you were saying, if you maybe want to follow some of the trend of the other South Oak Cliff guys that are currently signed or verbally committed, that would be tremendous. Just a tremendous pickup again in this 24 class if they could get Kerry Williams on board. Noah Lugo, I realize he's right down the street in Eaton. I don't know. I don't know what the temperature's like there. Hopefully that geographically, man, that makes sense. That would be awesome. He's got the Indiana offer, the Army offer, Kent State offer. I think a lot of Power 5 guys are probably going to offer him as well, at least a few. If I wouldn't be surprised. So just something else to keep an eye on, just, the relationship that maybe will hopefully continue to build with both ends, with Lugo and North Texas. But anyway, JD, I mean, anything else we need to touch on the recruiting front?
No. I mean, like I said, I think that get through spring ball. I don't see anybody else. I mean, Varquise, I mentioned on Go Mean Green that I heard rumors all the way back to when Seth and that staff was here that he had been mentioned in the portal. So seeing him leave was sad as a fan, but it wasn't surprising. I think the timing was surprising because, I mean, I think he hit the portal after leaving practice that morning. But as far as him hitting the portal wasn't surprising. But I think that, we may see some other guys jump in. But I also think that, that could free up some spots. Like I said, I think after spring ball it's kind of a busy time, kind of a second recruiting season starting. But as of right now, I haven't heard anybody that's testing the waters or anything like that. So that's a good sign. Because I know we had some guys that we were nervous. I mean, there's definitely some Power 5 quality guys still on this team that's been getting recruited. But like I said, I don't think anybody. I would be surprised if anybody hit the portal until the end of spring. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. But
Seriously.
anything can change. But like that's a good sign. I feel like.
Yeah. All right, JD. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, and as always, Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.